Welcome back to episode 3 of the free Rover restoration. We have a very special episode for you today, and as always I'm joined by my best mate, Hugh Jeffries. However, thanks to coronavirus and the fact he now lives almost 2 hours away, he can't be here for the intro, but I'm sure he says hi. So we have some great plans for this episode, such as cleaning out the interior of all its smell and driving a perfectly good car. However, this is the Rover we're talking about. All those plans went up in flames, never to be seen again. So instead we're going to be working on the brakes, having a quick look at the fuel filter and the thermostat, and even taking it for a drive. And even with all that in place, the car still manages to screw us over and now is stuck in my front yard not wanting to move. So with that out of the way, let's crack on with a bit of red cap. Now because I'm just a little bit shaky with the uploading schedule, the last video went up almost a year ago. I am sorry. So in episode 2 of the Rover, we had a look at the fueling system and got that up and running by changing the fuel pump. Then we changed over the oil and we had a quick start on the brakes. So with that out of the way, I think it's time we finish off the brakes, and I'm pretty sure we're going to be installing a new master cylinder. So whenever you have to replace parts, a good thing to do is to take a look at the old part and verse it against the new part. Make sure that they're exactly the same. And the only thing that I know is different on these two is that the new part is a little bit shinier. So let's go install the new part now. Before attaching the master cylinder, I filled it up with fluid and let it bleed all the air out by itself. Then we can attach it with the 2 bolts on the back and the 2 lines on the side, and then topped up the container. From there we can move on to bleeding the brakes, and I start with the furthest tire away, and we can take the wheel off, and I've got this one-man bleeder kit which helps out so much. It's attached to the wheel well and then the bleeder valve. There we go, that's what we want to see. With the new master cylinder, we finally saw the brakes being bled out. Time to move on to the front wheel, and using the same process, nothing happened. Turns out the rubber tube is completely swollen and that isn't layering any fluid in. These parts took 2 months to arrive, so if you're wondering why the videos come out so late, it's not my fault. Once we attach those new lines, we can bleed the front brakes, which gave us good results, so time for a test. We got fluid.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, there's fluid coming out. Oh, do you just have a little bit?
Just keep going?
Yeah, just keep going, yeah.
Oh, hang on, you better check your tank.
With the brakes on the car successfully bled, we decided it was time to go give it a test drive. Brakes don't work?
Nope.
Oh, well, for f***'s sake.
That's way too squishy.
Oh, it worked before on the thing. Alright, chuck in reverse and just go slow. So we backed it up and left it for the day. The next day we carefully drove it into the shed to fix this problem. So we jacked up the car and bled the brakes again.
It stopped. There is some serious rattling going on.
Ready?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I didn't have... yeah, I forgot.
You stopped the engine. Well, you know the brakes work. Oh, that's dripping out there. That thing was rattling around. I thought it was going to fly off.
Right, look out.
Look at that master cylinder. Take a squiz of that. Yeah, there's your problem.
That would be a problem.
Your seals don't work.
Yes, the seals are or the seals are on backwards.
He pretends like he knows what he's doing.
That's exactly right. So we took off the wheel cylinder and fixed that problem. And time for another test.
It feels like really heavy, like it's not gonna move.
Give us a drive. I'm gonna stall it first crack anyway. We don't need these useless clips anymore. We have some new ones.
But before we go for a drive, we better replace the fuel filter. We started by taking off the clips each side of the filter, then sliding the tubes off. Here is a good example of why you don't need to change your fuel filter. Cutting open the filter, we can see all the dirt and grime that is caught in there. If you don't want to replace it, this will limit how much petrol will make it to the engine. Going back to the engine, we can now attach the new filter by doing the opposite of the removal by pushing the tubes on and then attaching the clips.
Go! Stop, bloody hell. Pissing fuel out of here.
However, our clips were old and didn't work that well, so we just replaced ours with hose clamps. Now with the engine running better, we can finally go for a drive. James is attempting to drive the Rover after me, and from what I have taken out of this, it is like trying to drive a semi-trailer on a lawnmower engine. Here we go. You see what I mean?
Oh, wow.
You can't let the clutch off, it just goes to stall. You can try and take it up there if you want, but I don't know how we're going to get it around.
Oh, that stalled it. Oh yeah, wow, you really can't take it. Oh, here we go. I understand what you mean with that. Go! Go, goddamn you! Revs, revs, revs!
We can take it all the way up the road if you're really confident.
No.
Oh, I didn't know this bit was here.
Yeah, I did. I used to take my go-kart all out here. Give it revs, go! It just doesn't want revs.
I know.
This is a problem. Revs, my foot was pretty much to the floor then. That's fucked. That needs to be fixed.
As we put metal to the floor, we can see that the car speed doesn't increase. Change into second gear.
Oh, we've hit second.
And we slow down, indicate, which didn't work, and then slow down and pull into your neighbour's driveway as I flick on the freaking wipers.
Well, it is a rainy day. My neighbours are probably thinking, what the hell is wrong with these two?
They're probably like, wow, they've got the car off the lawn for once. And I hope there's enough water in this bad boy. The temperature's at under 50, so we're all good.
Does that even work?
No. Of course it doesn't. This is the Rover. We're barreling down the street. Test the brakes.
Oh, yeah, they work.
There we go.
Oh, a bit of fresh air, bloody hell.
Stand this side in case it starts.
So Hugh had the brilliant idea of putting a tub on the roof to combat the heat, which is exactly what we did on 1988 Camry. And tell you what, it worked a charm.
Until the hose melted.
Yeah, until the hose melted and the boiling water in the tank, but we don't worry about that. Well, it overheats. Not sure what other parts are stuffed on this. It barely runs without stalling. It smells like shit. Half the gauges don't work, especially the temperature one. But the clock and the radio do work.
That means we can listen to Mix FM whenever we want.
And that's all that really
And
matters.
check the time.
Yeah, that's all that really matters.
It's not set right.
Yeah, well, we don't worry about that. Look, because you really don't buy a car to drive it or for it to like run properly. You buy a car to listen to the radio and look at the time. I think on that, we're going to call it a day right there.
Yeah, I think so too.
Before we go any further in the video, it's probably a good time to mention that if you aren't following me on Instagram, you probably should be, because that's where I upload most to, and you will see updates on the Rover before I put out the next video, whenever that will be. So check out my Instagram and also check out Hugh's, because he was a huge help on this video. Thank you, Hugh. With that out of the way, let's get back to the video. To tackle the heating problem, I'm going to replace the thermostat, which is a very simple process. Step 1 is to drain your fluid a little bit, but since my car burnt it all, we can skip that step. Step 2 is to remove all the hoses and the thermostat housing. Step 3 is to get a new thermostat, and comparing the two together, they look identical, except the old one has an extra hole as a fail-safe if the thermostat locks up. So we can drill a new hole in the new thermostat. Step 4 is to clean up the old thermostat housing and remove any of the old gasket. I used a Stanley knife for this, but normally you'd use a plastic scraper, which also works well. A wire brush can help clean up the inside, and once that's all done, you can put on your new gasket and cut it to size. And finally, step 5 is to put it all back together. So I was filling it up with a bottle, but Dad had a good idea to get the bucket out.
Somebody go and get a big bucket and yes, with that.
But then we discovered yet another problem. All the water was leaking out. This car has more problems than a maths book. However, I'm not done finding them all yet. How about one more? So we're sitting in the car here, we now have the car running. We can now demonstrate the powerful capability of the Rover. So actually, we're just a little bit too at the front here, so we're actually just going to back it up. And, slowly take your foot off the clutch and your foot's off the clutch and it doesn't want to move, but that's okay, maybe we just lost reverse. We'll try it first. So up in the first and same deal. Yeah, we're not moving.
So apparently turning it around broke it.
We would have 100% heard if we broke it.
Wouldn't have been enough speed to break anything.
I know. So that's how this episode ends, with the car stuck in my front yard. I'm thinking it just might be the clutch slave cylinder, but that's a job for episode 4. Speaking of episode 4, I really do hope it doesn't take as long to come out. Plus, I've already filmed half of it, so it should. However, with all these problems, I've made the hard decision that it's time to sell the car. Now, it wasn't an easy decision to come by, as it was very fun to work on, and I learned a whole lot doing it. But I think it's best, and then we can move on to bigger and better things. So thank you to Hugh for helping out this video. Check out his YouTube and his Instagram down below. And thank you guys so much for watching, and if you want to support this video, make sure you share and subscribe, as it really does help a lot. And I will see you next time in the final episode of the free Rover restoration.